Hi everyone, Jennifer Blevins-Smith with Integral Clinic Solutions, and you're watching my YouTube channel, Navigating the Business of Medicine. Today I want to talk about hiring staff without medical experience. You may already have an opinion on this, or you might already have an experience about this, but I wanted to talk about the possibility of hiring staff in your practice who may not necessarily have healthcare working experience. Obviously, this isn't going to be applicable to every position in your practice because there are positions that require certifications and licenses and things like that, which are specific to healthcare. However, there are other roles in the practice that don't necessarily require a healthcare working background. And sometimes I feel that may be in as a benefit to you. The reason why I'm bringing up this topic is more and more practice owners that I speak with are frustrated with the lack of candidates that are applying for open positions that they have. And they're trying so hard to hire managers. They're trying to hire front office staff, maybe prior authorization referral staff, maybe even some billing staff. And it's very, very difficult right now. It's been going on for a while, and it seems like it's not getting any better in most parts of the country. Obviously, depending on your location, your specialty, things like that will play a factor. Another major factor is your pay, how much you are paying your staff. And unfortunately, even though you might not agree with the amount that you should be paying somebody, you need to be competitive in the market for people to even want to apply. And so you really need to make sure that you're checking other job postings in similar clinical environments to see what they're offering, what benefits they offer, things like that, because it is one of those things that people might say, oh, that sounds really good, but they don't pay enough, or they're not offering a starting wage high enough, or their benefits don't seem very strong, something like that. And they might not even apply. And you don't want to turn away possible strong candidates because your posting is weak or because you can't compete in the market. I know that's sad because a lot of private practices obviously don't make as much money as the bigger groups. However, it's a reality. So if you are struggling to find staff or you're getting ready to hire staff and you find yourself trying to figure out how to establish a wage to be offering to start off and things like that, make sure you word it in a way that isn't sound super solid, that it's not definitive, that maybe it starts at this depending on experience, things like that. And be open to being flexible, because if you find the right candidate, you might not want to let them go, especially in the climate of things right now with hiring of staff. There are a lot of skills in certain positions of healthcare staff that are transferable skills, can be used. So let's say your front office staff, they might not have worked in a front office of healthcare, but maybe they've worked in a front office of a very busy law office or a very busy mortgage insurance or title company or something like that. And they're familiar with customer service, they're familiar with answering phones, having to multitask, discuss money and finances with patients, things like that. Those are transferable skills. And just because a patient doesn't have experience in a healthcare situation, those things that they learned and probably are or could be very strong in are only going to benefit you, right? They have strong customer service skills, very important. They have strong communication skills, very important. They can multitask, use a computer. They're comfortable speaking to people about money situations. That is all very important. And a lot of that you can't teach, or you can teach, but it's not as easy for people to pick up on. Sometimes some of those things are just a natural thing for people. They're just really good at speaking. They're very good at communicating. They're very good at multitasking. They have attention to detail. Those things are more of personality traits that people define and like hone in on and they try to get better at, or you identify they're good at it and you help them get better at it, right? Where some things are just a little bit harder to teach. The things that are not hard to teach is the insurances, the types of insurances, how to do things specific in your office, the things that you need done in the system for scheduling, and you give them guides. There's a lot of things that they can pick up on that you can give them resources to help them in their day to day jobs. That if they have the foundation and they have the understanding, that it would just work really, really well. The other pro of hiring someone who has not worked in a healthcare setting is that they have no preconceived notions, they have no bad habits, they have no kind of restrictions on what they feel like they can and cannot do because they've never done it. You can pretty much train a clean slate the way you want them to be. Now, obviously, one of the cons to that is that you have to have the ability to train them appropriately. And you might not have the time or someone to dedicate in the office to help them train appropriately. Maybe you don't have the resources created that can help them and you don't have the time to create them. I don't know your situation. However, it is doable if you know what you're doing. Yes, they would take a little bit of time to learn the insurances and all the vernacular and all of that that goes behind it. However, you can give them resources, you can give them guides. And while I'm speaking about that, I am actually working on a course to train front office staff that you could purchase every time you hire a front office person or even a back office person that needs front office experience or to learn the front office. And you can have them take my course and I will teach them the foundations of working a front office, what the different types of insurances are, what kind of questions you need to ask when you're registering patients, red flags that you need to look for when you're talking about insurance, the demographic information and why it's important to get the responsible party, the emergency contact information, the pharmacy, why you need to ask certain questions, why you need to check insurance cards and driver's licenses on a regular basis, why you need to review the forms you're having patients sign and what they mean and why it's important. All of these things, I'm going to do a video that's going to lay the foundational work that you can build off of and use in your practice if you don't have the time to do it. Or even if you would prefer them to take that and then dedicate a trainer in your office to work with them further or sit side by side with them and work, or maybe it's you. But I'm going to be creating that course and I will let everyone know once it's launched. But I just am putting it out there because I know that resources are tight, funds are tight. I also know that time is difficult when you have multiple people in a small practice wearing different hats and things can get crazy. So I'm doing this to be able to help you help your patients, help your business be the best it can be. Some other cons of hiring someone who doesn't have healthcare experience is they might not fully understand the sensitivity in healthcare. It's going to be part of your responsibility to really drive home the HIPAA stuff, right? Because they're not going to be familiar with HIPAA. They have probably heard of HIPAA, I'm guessing, because most patients who have been patients have, but they're not going to understand what that means and what their roles and responsibilities are for keeping the integrity of patients' information private and secure. They're not going to understand that sometimes patients might be cranky and it's not because of them. It might be because they're scared, they're hurt, they don't feel good, things like that. Helping them get a perspective that they have never experienced before. The biggest con of hiring someone without healthcare experience is that it's just going to take a little bit more time and effort for you to show them the way, to help them understand. However, the pro to it is that you could be making a wonderful long-term employee because you're doing that for them, because you're going to have that special bond. Patients are going to like it. And you'll be able to hopefully identify when you're interviewing these candidates who's capable of taking on that extra learning and who's not. I know I can tell, but I've been doing interviews for a long time. I've been managing people for a long time. And I think, good at reading people in general most of the time. So I can pick up on that stuff. But it's one of those things that you should consider, especially if you haven't started hiring yet and there could be some challenges in this area, or you have been trying to hire for these certain positions and you're not having any luck. I really think that if you were to be open to the possibility of hiring someone without the direct healthcare experience, but that has the transferable skills that are needed for the job, that you might be pleasantly surprised. If you have any questions or comments about this, please leave that in the comments below. Smash the thumbs up button if today's video was helpful, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Please share this with your colleagues whom you feel would benefit, and we'll see you next time. Thank you, and bye-bye.